Gervonta tank. Davis has sent shockwaves through the boxing world after revealing a jaw-dropping new physique ahead of his clash with Jake Paul. Famous for his explosive knockouts and compact power, Tank has transformed himself into a sculpted powerhouse, leaving fans speechless. His latest gym footage shows a noticeably heavier, more muscular version of Davis' broad shoulders, thicker arms, and a look of pure determination. The transformation has fueled speculation that Davis isn't just preparing for another fight, he's preparing for war. Ready to meet Jake? Paul's size and strength head-on in the most dangerous version of himself we've ever seen.
We were yelling so much about him fighting someone, fight somebody your size. His next opponent is, by far, the most credentialed guy ever fought actively in his prime. There's one problem. He fights at 135 pounds. He fights at 135 pounds.
Preparation for his biggest challenge yet? Gervonta Davis has turned his entire training camp into a battlefield. Sources close to his camp describe a brutal, no-weakness program that combines high-intensity power training, sparring sessions, and non-stop conditioning designed to sustain his massive size gain. Davis has been focusing on compound lifts, resistance work, and strength circuits that push his limits daily, while still maintaining his signature speed and agility. To adapt to the physicality of Jake Paul's frame, he's been sparring with larger, heavier fighters, some resembling light heavyweights, to harden his body for impact. It's a transformation built not just on muscle, but on mindset. Tank is preparing for the storm, not the spotlight.
Yeah.
This Santa Cruz out here to get you.
Big down, let it burn, baby, let it burn. Oh.
Mind over matter, son. Mind over matter.
This is the blues I'm
Ain't nobody doing no shit like this. Come in the desert. Nigga trying to stay away from the desert. He come in the desert.
when the night is
Camera.
cold and low.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like camera action.
And fighting for the
Light action. Cap.
Come on, Tank. Come on, Tank. Come on. Come on, Tank. Yeah. Come on, let me just see. You said, get down in there. Get down in there. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
I'm playing.
Don't think about it. Don't think about it.
This is the final game.
Remember that gun on it? They got that gun on that tank. They go, time.
When the night is cold and low.
Hey, don't keep you here late tonight. Good job.
It's been hard being away from my daughter. You know, she actually here, she sleep. Just being away from her, it was a little touchy, but I know when I'm up, I guess. You know, I know that I got pay-per-view. You know, I know I'm fighting a tough opponent, so really I know how to lock in. I know how to shy away from everything. I know how to, I know how to fool around. I said, no, don't get can't go on TV looking like that.
The challenge Davis faces is immense. Jake Paul walks into the ring as a naturally bigger man, with the fight's 195-pound limit and 12-ounce gloves stacked in his favor. For Davis, who usually rules at around 135 pounds, the leap in size and strength is staggering, a climb few fighters have ever attempted. Critics argue that putting on so much mass could threaten the very weapons that define him, his speed, precision, and explosive timing. But for Tank, this is a gamble with purpose. It's about proving that greatness isn't confined to weight classes. Still, many wonder, can Davis carry his deadly power up in size without losing the magic that made him unstoppable?
Jake Paul, Tank Davis fight got moved to Miami.
I think Jake wins.
Jake's just so big, dude.
I think Jake wins.
This is different because it's similar.
fast, though.
It's similar to Logan versus Mayweather, but
But Jake has better
Paul
boxing.
now obviously is way more advanced than where Logan was at that moment in time.
I mean, it's
Gervonta's
just.
fucking sick.
I mean, yeah, no, but dude,
Did you
Jake,
ever watch his highlights?
Jake can
He's
crack,
nasty,
man.
bro.
He's so sick.
He's
I love
nasty.
that guy, bro.
Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. You have the Paul brothers and they come over to boxing. Their idea from day one is we don't have the skills or the experience. What we're going to do is we'll take on the absolute best guys, but they're going to spot us some pounds. Tank has one job to do, that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skill, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. Tank is telling anybody that will listen that there's a size problem. My skills and my experience in boxing, I do not have to wonder who's in the bar tonight. Any bar I go to, I rule the bar. No, it turns out that you don't. Just need some big guy to corner you, apparently. Boxing has never stood its ground. Boxing has never been able to explain why Floyd needed a half hour to get rid of a guy who's never boxed before. Tank Davis has already began this. When you choose a dum-dum, don't be surprised when he goes out and acts like a dum-dum.
For UFC President Dana, White didn't hold back when giving his take on the potential Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight. He made it clear that, while the matchup might not excite purists, it could still serve as a crucial turning point for Tank. Davis has recently faced a wave of negative headlines and fading public momentum, and Jake Paul's massive offer arrived at the perfect time. White believes this fight might help Davis rebuild his image and reconnect with fans while cashing in big. But he also warned that Paul's physical edge, his height, reach, and sheer bulk could smother Davis's usual rhythm. According to Dana, Jake could use his size to lean, clinch, and pressure Tank relentlessly, turning the fight into a test of endurance rather than skill. This isn't just a boxing match, White implied. It's survival against a bigger beast.
Is picking Jake Paul to beat Gervonta Davis. This is not a fight that I'm excited for at all. I would rather have Gervonta Davis fighting in a real boxing match against the likes of Lamont Roach, Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis, Emmanuel Navarrete, anybody that is in the 135-pound division and around. That's where I want to see Gervonta Davis fight. However, we live in a world where everybody is trying to do things as big as possible. And the biggest fights possible right now, unfortunately for the sport of boxing, is an exhibition fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. So I do like it for this reason, though. I like it because it is allowing Gervonta Davis to have a fight that is going to be big and that the mainstream media is going to have to cover, the mainstream media outside the world of boxing. Gervonta Davis has been, without a doubt, blocked, having venues blocked, having fighters, having other promoters paying fighters away to go different directions from Gervonta Davis. So Gervonta Davis was in a bit of a hole. And he gets an opportunity to fight Jake Paul for $200 million or whatever. I don't mind it at all. As long as Gervonta Davis comes back to the world of boxing after he gets done with this, hey man, you got your money, no worries. But you gotta love Dana White having the audacity to pick Jake Paul in this fight and says something to the effect that, hey, he was talking to Logan Paul and said, hey, when you were fighting Floyd, you know, there was this, you're a gigantic guy, big size difference. There was a time when Floyd Mayweather Jr. hit, had an overhand right that landed flush on Logan Paul.
Former UFC warrior and bare-knuckle brawler Mike Perry didn't bite his tongue when speaking on the rumored matchup. Perry openly accused Davis of chasing a money grab rather than legacy, suggesting that Tank may have lost the same hunger that once made him feared across the division. He argued that choosing to fight a YouTuber instead of a top-tier boxer raises questions about Davis's motivation. Perry even went so far as to claim that Jake Paul's drive and dedication might now surpass Tank's, a statement that sent fans into a frenzy. His harsh words have reignited a fiery debate. Does Davis still fight for greatness, or has fame taken the wheel?
Jake is big. Tank has a lot of skill, but I don't think he's the same Tank that we saw the most incredible knockouts.
We saw him. I mean, Lamont Roach performed great. They went to draw, and, you know, I just don't know. And Tank walked away. I don't know if he loves it enough to beat a guy who outweighs him by 80 to 100 pounds.
During their first intense face-off, fans noticed something unusual. Gervonta Davis didn't look like the same fearless destroyer they were used to seeing. Standing across from the much taller Jake Paul, Tank appeared composed, but visibly tense. With minimal eye contact and stiff posture, it was as if the reality of Jake's size advantage had finally hit him. Some say it was focus, others saw doubt, but either way, was a rare glimpse of vulnerability from a man known for his cold confidence. That moment captured more than a stare-down. It was the silent recognition of the uphill war ahead.
Tank looked very uncomfortable facing off. He just did. I've seen other face-off this Tank done. He gets in their face and they're intense and he looks good. He looked very meager up there. You've had 8 fights and you're gonna go tangle with Tank Davis. And the story instantly comes out. Jake is so much bigger. There is such a compliment to Jake within that insult. It is meant to be an insult. It is meant to take away from a potentially glorious moment for Jake. But where the compliment comes is it means the public believes he's gonna win. That's what it means.
Legendary boxing analyst Teddy Atlas couldn't resist weighing in on the now viral face-off. In his trademark blunt style, he joked that Davis might need a ladder just to touch Jake Paul's chin. But behind the humor was a serious truth. The physical difference between them is enormous. Atlas explained that while size mismatches are nothing new in boxing, this one pushes the limits of fairness. He compared it to Canelo Alvarez moving up to fight Terrence Crawford, but even then, Crawford was never this undersized. For Atlas, the matchup feels more like a spectacle than a sport test, not of skill alone, but of whether pure heart and technique can overcome raw size and power.
Things, right? They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract, but I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but a little different. The size difference was, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping. And it made me think, and I'm going to ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him, because I know he's an expert in this area, but it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunderlips. He was Thunderlips back there. And I thought I had it right, and it was confirmed to me. It's Rocky 3.